You guys can come to the tank over here with the cart closer to the middle.
Yeah, guys, right over here, there's an empty tank. We have these 3 tanks. One here, and one there. Look for those tarps folded to the middle. All right. You can record them, yeah.
One more down.
Hey guys, keep making your way down. Circle around one of these 3 tanks over here. And there's still plenty of room over at this tank as well. Now guys, as you're looking at these seahorses, do they look any different in color compared to the seahorses we fed inside?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
These are darker.
Yeah, they're darker, right? So they are a fish, but they don't have scales like other fish. Instead, they have skin wrapped over bony plates.
Got the little one on
So if you have skin and you get too much Hawaiian sun, these guys can get sunburned, right? So that's why we're putting these black tarps over, protect them from the sun. But guys, what I want to do next, I want to show you how fast seahorses can really move. So let's have a seahorse race. Now, one lucky winner at every tank is going to find some Tupperware with a red lid on it. Once you find it, go ahead and pull it out of the cup holder and shake it up good. Then once you shake it up, take that red lid off, and then on the count of 3, we're going to dump that into the middle of the tank. We're going to empty the contents into the middle of the tank we best we can. You guys ready? All right. 1, 2, 3. Dump it all in the middle. And now what you're about to witness is the top speed of a seahorse. So witness the blinding speed. Right, so keep in mind they are not built for speed. They are built for camouflage. Right, they even have chromatophores, meaning they can change colors according to their environment. Now guys, as we're watching them eat this food, do you notice a difference between the food we just put in the tanks now versus the opai ula shrimp we fed the seahorses before?
Smaller.
It smells bad. Anything else? It's not alive. That's what I was looking for. This is dead food. It's dead mysis shrimp, and it comes from the freshwater lakes of Canada. There, it's an invasive species. So fishermen gather it up, freeze it, and sell it to pet stores around the world. So this dead mysis shrimp is a food source that is readily available to most people. Right? Remember again, most people do not have a shrimp pond in their front yard. But wild seahorses are not scavengers, meaning they do not eat dead food. So when we first started feeding them this dead mysis shrimp, they just let it sink down to the bottom. Right? Looked at us like we were crazy. They didn't know what to do with this food. Now, we didn't starve our seahorses or anything, but we kept giving them this mysis. And eventually, one brave seahorse ventured out from the rest of the pack, tried the dead mysis shrimp, and liked it. So what do you think we named this seahorse that tried something new and liked it?
Mikey.
Mikey, right?
Yeah,
Like cereal
Mikey.
commercial.
Yeah.
Right now, Mikey wasn't just surviving, he was actually thriving. The other seahorses were watching him and learning from him that they could also eat this dead mysis shrimp. So what that meant is that Mikey got a job, right? For about 3 years, Mikey went from tank to tank to tank, teaching the other seahorses to eat this mysis shrimp. Now, after 3 years of this, that is when our 6-month-old juveniles that had never met Mikey started eating the mysis shrimp all on their own. That meant a few things, right? It meant Mikey's traits have been passed down to the next generation. It also meant that these seahorses were now fundamentally different than wild seahorses. And it also meant Mikey could now retire, right, in the cushy aquarium at the owner's house. Right? So that is how we dealt with our food dilemma. The other issue we had to deal with was monogamy. So remember, in the wild, these guys mate for life. Well, in these tanks, nobody is bonded to a specific individual. You're actually looking at mixed gender tanks. These are the world's only swinging seahorses in front of you, right? So basically, monogamy in the wild, it sounds romantic, but it's due to a lack of options, a slim dating pool, right? There's a very low population density, and if you're lucky enough to come across another seahorse as a seahorse that happens to be of the opposite sex, that's your mate for life. That's your best chance at passing your genes on to the next generation. But here, they have so many options, they are not pair bonded to any specific individual. So if somebody gets sick and moved, or somebody gets sold and moved, they just slide on down, right? The more, the merrier. It also doesn't matter if it's males or females. The sad thing would be one solitary seahorse. But if you have 2 or more, they're happy. They just want buddies to hang on to. Like I said, if it's 2 males or 2 females, they're just as happy. Now, I know we just put food in the water, but what do you think of the water clarity or quality?
It's good. It's fun.
Yeah, it should look super clean, right? This is actually oligotrophic water, right? It comes from the ocean, and oligotrophic means nutrient-free, sediment-free, low turbidity water, right? And it's coming from a pumping station at the western tip of the island called Kailua-Kona Point. On the side of these tanks, we have different spigots, right? One's warm water, one's cold water, one's oxygen, right? And we can just adjust these knobs and maintain a steady water temperature year-round. These guys want 25 degrees Celsius water. Now, we can't take credit for this water coming in. It's actually the state of Hawaii that put it in the 70s, right? So in the 70s, there was an energy crisis. That is when the state decided they would invest an enormous amount of money into generating electricity using temperature differences in the ocean. It's called Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion, or OTEC. So what they decided